And hello,
Well,
Danielle.
welcome. I'm Elizabeth, and this is Nick. He'll be our tech support today. So if you're having any problems with Zoom, please feel free to chat directly to him. Um, and we're going to be learning all about teaching numeracy with AI today. Um, I'd like to do some quick introductions. I recognize most of you, and I think you maybe already feel like you are a math person, which is awesome. But often ABE people don't really consider themselves math people, and I like this little visual, and it's actually a free poster that you can download. I'll put the link in the chat. Um, if you feel that that is something encouraging to put in your classroom to support learners who maybe have some math anxiety. But if you'd like to just share in the chat or turn on your microphone, and we'll just quickly share who we are and what math or numeracy content do you currently teach or support. I can go first. I'm Elizabeth Bennett. I formerly was a teacher in Minneapolis and taught pre-GED and some GED level math, but not a lot. I didn't really get into those high school standards very much. And then when I've also taught ESL learners, and I always tried to incorporate some of those like level B, level C standards, because I just feel very strongly that numeracy is for everyone. And if you wait until learners get to those high school equivalency level classes, that's really too late. Like they need to be building numeracy skills before that point. I see Mandeep is here from the correctional facility in Plymouth. Thank you. I imagine you're teaching kind of in a one-room schoolhouse setting, so teaching some numeracy there. Hi, Mary Kate. We're just kind of introducing ourselves. Carly teaches intermediate ESL at Open Door. At the moment, not teaching much math or numeracy, but would like to start incorporating it more. Excellent. There's a lot of things you can do in ESL classes to support math and numeracy.
I'm sorry, Mandeep. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm good. I thought maybe I will have to introduce myself, but yeah, it's done. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, no, we'll force you to speak later.
Mm, sorry, did you say that I can say something?
You're welcome to. Yeah, we're a small enough group.
I have nothing much to say.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a teacher at the adult correction facility. I really want to attend this workshop if I cannot work like webinar full if possible, but I do have a class in 30 minutes to teach. One thing is that we are not allowed to use technology here at all. Yeah, my students cannot use technology, but I still want to learn about AI and all. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I have nothing much to say.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bridget shares in the chat. She also teaches intermediate and also low beginning ESL. She uses Canvas and IXL. Oh, she's a support specialist for those platforms for teachers. And yeah, math is in so much ESL content that we teach. Time, recipes, addresses, phone numbers, ages, so many applications in ESL. And Danielle is here. I know Danielle has taught a lot of math and developed math curriculum. Currently living in Canada, but still teaching math for Minneapolis and has written a lot of Literacy Minnesota's math curriculum. So thanks for being here, Danielle.
Hi, I just want to say hi real quick. I miss everybody. I will not see you in person because I'm far away. Come visit. I'm in Ottawa.
All right. Well, I might take you up on that.
Yeah.
Or cross the border and never go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not sure if we can make it. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet
Danielle.
you
I'm
too.
Nicholas Holson. I work at Literacy Minnesota along with
Cool.
Elizabeth, and I believe I've used your math curriculum at least once when I volunteer taught a GED class or filled that line.
Could be,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think many of us have.
Yeah, I mean, and I wrote it the 2014 as soon as GED came out per the guidelines they wanted. And then in 2022, so just a couple years ago, I worked closely with Leah Hauge, and she's like, this is what I want you to do. So I did that. So hopefully it's helpful. I use it sometimes myself in my classes, so it's kind of weird.
Excellent.
So, and also I could only stay for like 30 minutes. So and I'll watch the recording later if that's okay, Elizabeth.
Sure thing. Yep, that's why we record these.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So just a reminder, Jason had to be out today, but he typically helps with our AI playgroups. He's a great resource. Nick is here as our tech support today, and I'm Elizabeth. We all are on the statewide digital and distance learning team at Literacy Minnesota. So we support teachers at open door learning centers, but also all throughout the state of Minnesota. We have a help desk. So if you have questions, anything related to distance learning or digital literacy or using technology, please reach out to us. This is my full-time gig. I love supporting teachers. So there's no question too small or too stupid. Just let us know. We're here to help you. These play groups are kind of guided by this philosophy of all of us, we're teachers, but we are all lifelong learners. And especially when it comes to AI and new technologies, I certainly don't know everything, and it's always changing anyway, like nobody can know everything. So we're here to help each other out and to learn together. And also the Makerspace part of it is that hopefully we're creating some resources that we can share with each other. All of the resources, this spreadsheet is starting to get quite long, so you're going to have to scroll all the way down to get to the math stuff for today. But you can see resources from Language and Literacy Institute, where we did some digital graphic organizers. Our Makerspace in January, we worked on vocabulary resources, and then in February, we worked on speaking and listening activities. So please check it out. It's linked on the handout that I will give you a bit later in the session, and also email to you in the follow-up. Our objectives for today are to first think about some potential pitfalls of using AI to support math learning. I think it's a really exciting technology, but there are definitely some bugs. So we want to be aware of those as we're using this, especially with learners. We're going to think about our purpose for using AI. It's easy to use AI to just generate a ton of content, but maybe that's not really the most useful. You know, there's a lot of places on the internet already where I can just get math worksheets if that's all I need. So we're going to think about how can we really use this to support teaching math in our contexts with adult learners. We'll make sure that you can identify at least 2 free AI tools that you can use to generate math content to support your teaching. And we will get a chance to play around and start using at least one of those tools to create something that will hopefully be useful to you. And finally, we hope to be able to share some resources with our colleagues. So diving right in, what could go wrong? I am going to put this link in the chat, or if you're watching the recording or you just prefer to pull out your mobile device right now and scan the QR code, you're welcome to do that. But I'm going to encourage you, just look at the first page. There's some more, there's a separate transcript on the subsequent pages, but just look at the page 1 of this document. I'll stop talking for a few minutes so you can actually read it. And then as you are ready, please use the Zoom chat and add some observations, anything that you notice about it, and things that you wonder, things that make you go, I have a question about that. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. So feel free to share any observations or questions you have in the chat. There are no right or wrong answers. It's just whatever you notice, whatever you wonder. I love this routine in math class. You can use it for an equation, a graph, a chart, a word problem, anything, and it really helps take the pressure off because again, there are no wrong answers. If you notice that there are two different colors, that's what you notice, and that's your answer. That's fine. All right, so yeah, I'm getting a couple people are saying in the chat, answer A, 200x plus 50 is here as number one. And the AI says that this is a mistake. But then if you read down to the bottom of the document, it's also number 6. And now they're saying that it is the correct answer. Very interesting. Yeah, and we're wondering why there are these slashes in front of the dollar sign. That's a great question. I do not know, but I have noticed a lot of similarly weird formatting things in some of the other math things I've tried. Danielle says, yeah, I've only used Magic School a few times for math and found many errors. Yes. Magic School is probably my favorite AI tool for developing instructional materials, but yeah, you can see there are obviously some things with math that it does not get right. So there are many other things we could notice and wonder about. In the interest of time, we'll move on, but just wanted to give you a little taste of like, yeah, once you start asking AI about math, things can get a little wonky. And there's a reason for this, and it has to do with how the technology works, like on the back end that we don't see as users. It's kind of unexpected, right? Because normally calculators, computers, machines are really good with numbers. But this is a different type of technology that's based more on language. And a way that I've had it explained to me is like, it's basically like when you're on your phone texting and it wants to suggest what word comes next. Magic School, ChatGPT, all of these chatbots, they're just a much more advanced version of that. They're just trying to predict what is most likely to come next. And so, yeah, they can write poetry. Language can be flexible like that. But in math, usually there's just one number that's going to make sense. And this technology wasn't really designed for math. Nevertheless, there are getting to be quite a few learner-focused AI tools to help you solve math problems. If you're a student with math homework and you're stuck, pull out your phone, scan the problem, and AI is going to tell you how to solve it. One of the most probably well-known is called Khanmigo, which is part of Khan Academy. I don't think a lot of adult learners are using it at this point because it is not free. It's $4 a month per individual learner, unless a school district has purchased a school district license. If you happen to be in a district that has done that, I don't know of any, but there could be some in Minnesota. You should know that time spent using Khanmigo is not currently approved for distance learning proxy hours. So the rest of Khan Academy, the videos and the practice activities, those are all fine for proxy hours, as long as it's ABE appropriate content. But the Khanmigo AI tutoring is not approved. Another one is called Photomath, which is an app on your phone, and this is where you can scan a problem and it's supposed to tell you the answer. It is free, but of course there's a paid upgrade that's supposed to give you more. Symbolab works on both a computer and a mobile device. It has an app, but you can also use it in a web browser. And I'm wondering, are there others that your students have tried or that you have tried yourself or seen people using?
I can lead off with one or two.
Sure.
Yeah, mostly whatever is on their home system. This tends to be Gemini or Copilot. And although they are not necessarily asking about math, they're asking about everyday things. Sometimes a math question will come up like, oh, what is English for 20 plus 4?
Mm-hmm.
Or what is English for 100? Things like that.
Sure. Yeah, and that's interesting. So more of a translation use. And I would hope that it would be more accurate for that than for the actual calculations and equations. But yeah, if you're already using a device and you're already used to using AI for just everyday questions, yeah, it's quite natural for a learner to make that leap.
Yeah.
Danielle's wondering, does Apple's AI do math? Probably. I don't know in particular. But yeah, I think all of the tech companies are working on their AI models, and everybody wants to get better. I would not expect that it would be dramatically better at math than any of the other ones that we've tried.
Yeah, at the very least, as of now, asking Siri to do math just results in a redirect to Safari, I believe. I
Yeah.
could be wrong.
Yeah, I actually I read Conmigo, like ironically, like this tutoring AI that they developed specifically for math tutoring, was actually giving learners a lot of wrong answers. And one of the solutions to that was that they had it redirect to a calculator instead of trying to use the large language model for those number crunching types of questions. Something else to be aware of, I'm not really sure how this always promotes learning. It might help you get the right answer for your homework assignment, but I'm not sure that these student-facing apps are really going to help you develop conceptual understanding or the ability to apply concepts. I noticed just looking at the difference between the free and the pro plans for this Simbo Lab, only the pro version that you have to pay for actually shows you the steps in getting the solution. So I would probably not encourage my learners to use this, or only use it under certain circumstances with some direction from you. Also kind of going along with that point, a lot of these tools are focusing just on like the calculation, the number crunching aspect of math. And I like this quote from Dan Meyer. He was our keynote speaker at Math Institute a few years ago. He does a lot of work with the Desmos platform. But he says calculation is to mathematics what chopping onions is to hosting a dinner party, right? Like, yeah, it's a good skill to have. It definitely helps in a lot of situations, but that is definitely not the big picture, right? That's not the only thing we want learners to walk away from their math class with the ability to calculate. They also need to be able to make good arguments, defend their reasoning, estimate, and do all of these other things that I don't know that those apps are really teaching you how to do any of those things. So we're going to focus on where can the AI actually add value to our teaching of numeracy. Sorry, no pun intended. But how can we use this in a way that's actually going to be helpful and not just like, oh, that's neat, but I still have to prep my lesson. That's not adding anything that I need. And so I've thought of 3 main ways that I think this could actually be really useful. The first way is, again, let's play to the AI's strengths of language. A lot of the CCRS math standards are quite complex. A lot of skills packed into just a few lines of text. So let the AI help you. Let it break down the standards for you and develop pieces that are more manageable, help you with your lesson and unit planning. AI is really good at brainstorming. And so I think it can be really useful for just brainstorming, giving me ideas for problems that are going to be relevant to my adult learners. Has anyone ever noticed like every single fractions problem starts with pizza? And pizza maybe is not the most relevant thing for a lot of my learners for various reasons. So let's think of some other things, some other reasons why we would need to learn about fractions or use these math skills. And then the third way, kind of playing to its strength in messing up and making mistakes with math. Let's use it to generate some examples of student work and misconceptions, and then we can talk about the mistakes and the misconceptions that the AI is giving us, and then none of my learners feel put on the spot or singled out for having made the mistake themselves. Nobody's feelings are getting hurt because it's just what the computer gave us. So with those purposes in mind, I'll talk about 3 tools. All of these, they're free-ish because you can start out using them for free and then you can pay for a paid version. The first is Magic School. I really like it for most education and instructional related tasks because it was designed specifically for teachers. It has a lot of built-in tools. So if you're not feeling very comfortable just writing AI prompts from scratch, you can use the tools to help you. And if you do want more of that conversational back and forth iterative approach, it does have a built-in chatbot called Raina. So you can use that for longer conversations. The second tool is Conmigo. So I mentioned there's Conmigo tutoring for students that the students have to pay for, but Conmigo is free for teachers. So if you have a Khan Academy teacher account, you also have access to Conmigo for teachers. Something I don't really like about it that has taken me a while to get used to is that its interface is different from a lot of chatbots. The back and forth transcript kind of happens in a sidebar, and I'll show you that where to find that. So it's just something to get used to if you're going to use it. It's really great though if you are already using Khan Academy, because another strength of AI is noticing patterns and analyzing data. And so if you have learners who are using Khan Academy and you have, your entire class worked on a math unit, you can use Conmigo to analyze your students' work, and it will make suggestions on, which students still need to work on which skills and suggest assignments that you can give them. So really great if you are already using Khan Academy. And then ChatGPT, probably the most widely known AI chatbot. And it's not specifically designed for education. It's just kind of a general use tool. I don't know exactly when this happened, but now you can use ChatGPT not just to have a conversation based on the data it was trained on, which could be several years old. You can use it now to search the internet and have it help you find more relevant search results. I'll show you an example of that a bit later. That's kind of what it looks like. So you type in your prompt, and then if you click on that little circle globe icon, it'll search the web as it's, so it'll use web results to inform its response to you. So I should pause there. I've been talking a lot. If you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Hey, Jason, I'm glad you joined us.
Hi, I was having some trouble with my video, and then when I logged in, it said the host requires video to be off. So I don't know if that's what it is or not, but
Oh, that's weird. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, welcome anyway. We're glad you're here.
Thanks. It's fun listening.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to dive into how you might use AI to help yourself plan units and lessons. So here's an example of one of those CCRS math standards. This is a 3rd grade standard from the Common Core that has been incorporated into our adult ed standards. And man, this is just one standard, but there's a lot of conceptual understanding and a lot of kind of prerequisite skills that learners need to have to be able to master this. So something I can do with Conmigo is I can actually copy and paste that standard right into this learning objectives tool. And it will look at that standard for me and kind of break it down into some more manageable objectives. So I'll show you what that looked like. But please note, what I think is the more valuable stuff is really hidden in the sidebar. So when you go to Conmigo, so here's, you can see, all I did was copy and paste the standard. And then it kind of summarized it for me in teacher language. And then it gave me one student-facing objective, which is okay. I would like to have it broken down further though. So I go here over to my sidebar. And this is where I can kind of have a conversation with Conmigo. Down where it says ask away, I can type in there. And then you can kind of see, I went back and forth with it. So I told it to break it down further into multiple, more manageable student-friendly objectives. So it gave me some more. And then I was like, okay, those are better. I can work with that. Now I'd like you to identify some key vocabulary terms that I'm gonna have to teach and make sure learners understand. It broke down some terms for me and gave me definitions. But I noticed it left out partition. So part of this standard is you have to be able to look at a number line and partition the space between 0 and 1 to show the fraction. But it did not define partition, which I think is a pretty important word. So I asked it to include that, and it did, gave me a definition. And then up here, somewhere it had mentioned pizza. Oh yeah, in the student-friendly objectives. So like I'll be able to divide the space into equal parts, just like slicing a pizza into equal slices. And I'm like, well, okay, but that's, I mean, I think I can do better than that for my learners. Just thinking about who was typically in my class. So I said, give some examples that are more culturally relevant than pizza. My learners are adults from East Africa and Central America. And then it gave me some more appropriate examples, I think. I especially actually like this example of a banana because it sort of has that linear shape like a number line. And I think that's, you know, gonna be very familiar and relevant to the people I see every day. And then I asked, you know, these are all like food examples. Maybe if I'm fasting, I don't really want to come to class and talk about food the whole time. So maybe some examples that are not food, or just that's a good thing anyway, because not everything that's a fraction involves food. We use it for lots of things. So it gave me some other ideas of things that are not food that I might be able to use. So all of that though it's all hidden in the sidebar. When I go to share this with you, if you click on that link, all you're gonna see is this initial thing it gave me. So you have to go over to the sidebar to keep working with it. Magic School has a similar tool. It's actually called the Standards Unpacker tool, which I really like. And it gave me more detail. It kind of broke it down into key components. Gave me 3 learning targets right off the bat. And then it even gave me some instruction and assessment strategies. That was just my initial prompt, copying and pasting the standard, and it gave me all that, bam, right away. So I like that. And then of course you can continue the conversation, asking it to give you, you know, vocabulary supports or more ideas for teaching, more ideas for assessment. You can keep going with it. I can do that right in the Standards Unpacker tool because I have the paid version of Magic School. If you have the free version of Magic School, you can still do this, but you have to use the Reina chatbot because the only way to go back and forth within the tools is to go back and revise your initial prompt, and then you'll lose the full transcript. And sometimes that's okay, and sometimes I like to have the full transcript to go back to. Magic School also has a unit plan tool, so you can put in multiple standards and it will generate a whole unit plan. So I'll give you an example here. I picked some 6th grade standards about expressions and equations. I was thinking, well, usually we have class 4 days a week, so 16 classes, that would be like a month. Good length of time for a unit, maybe. 16 school days. And then I gave it some additional context that, this is a 6th grade standard, 6th grade level, but the learners are not 6th graders, right? They're adults who are learning English. They're going to need a lot of support with vocabulary, and they have a range of experiences with formal math education. And then I gave it specific standards. I wanted it to do 6.EE.1 through 9. And it just spat out this whole unit plan, everything I need to do for 16 days. So each day has an objective, a suggested assessment, some key points, and which standards are being addressed that day. It also gave me some culminating activities like you could use for like a final project or something. So that was pretty good. I was pretty happy with that. But there were a few things that I think you should be aware of. The first thing was that first standard explicitly mentioned exponents. And I did a keyword search on that page and the word exponent does not appear anywhere. And I think exponents are definitely a topic that my students are going to need support with. So just be aware it might leave out big things like that. It said it was including all of those standards 1 through 9, but when I look at the bottom at this standards addressed, it's actually only giving me 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, and 9. So not actually all of the standards that I asked for. And then the last two or 3 days of the unit were supposed to be for review and test prep and then taking a unit test. And nowhere did it work in time for me to actually do those unit projects, those culminating activities. So I would definitely have to revise that, but I was pretty happy with it just as a starting point. A couple other Magic School tools that I like for math are this multiple explanations tool. So again, you can just kind of copy and paste the standard that you're teaching, and it will give you explanations, examples, analogies. If you prompt it a little more, you can ask it to give you ideas for visual aids. Unfortunately, it only produces text. It's not going to produce the number line or the circle model or whatever for you, but it'll at least give you ideas. And sometimes you can even ask it like, what tool should I use to produce this visual aid? And it'll give you suggestions for tools you can use. The conceptual understanding tool is nice too. It can give you more ideas for projects and activities to build that conceptual understanding. And I realize I'm talking really fast and throwing a lot at you, but I'm going to keep going because I want you to have time to actually play around with some of these tools. So the second big purpose, I think, where I would find AI useful is providing context and relevance for my learners. Both Magic School and Conmigo have tools built in called Make It Relevant. So they have recognized that, like, yes, this is a need for teachers. I've linked a couple examples there in the slides. We won't go into them. Again, I think it's a good starting point, but you're going to want to revise it and make sure that they're really good examples for your learners. You can also, there's a slightly different tool called Real World Context Generator. This is in Conmigo. So it can give you contexts for word problems or projects that might be helpful for your learners. And it has a lesson hook tool as well. So if you want to break it down to something really specific to just start your lesson, you can try that. And then I don't usually like ChatGPT that much for educational purposes. But I was really, really happy with the internet search tool. So I put this prompt in explaining what I wanted. You know, it's a fairly detailed prompt here. And I told it, you know, these are my learners. I'm teaching them this 6th grade math content in English about expressions and equations. I want a list of culturally and professionally relevant contexts for actually using these skills in real life. And I said, in this scenario, a lot of my learners work in warehouses, logistics, delivery, that kind of thing. So maybe give me some examples that are going to be relevant for those types of jobs. And then I also asked it to, since it's searching the internet, I want it to cite its sources. So I know, like, if I'm not sure about something, I can actually go to that source and check it out, make sure that it's legitimate. And so it just spat out a list of 10 different contexts. And for the most part, I thought these were really good. And it actually directed me, so if I go to this Illinois Community College resource, it found this lesson that somebody had already created basically on this topic of using formulas and expressions in the context of a warehouse environment. I tried just Google searching for this on my own, and it didn't come up, or at least I didn't spend enough time searching through all the results to find it. So I thought that was really, really helpful. And I looked, I'm quite impressed with this document. And I liked even at the end, it has little diagrams of different ways you can load stuff on pallets. Like, I have never worked in a warehouse, so I didn't realize, but obviously not all your boxes are always the same size. And so you can get very strategic about how many things are fitting in each tier. And there's actually formulas that are used for this. And it's very, very applicable. So I thought that was, I got pretty excited about that. All right, and then the third use case is getting student work, not actually created by a human student, but just created by AI. Magic School has a common misconceptions tool built in, which it was okay. Maybe the quality of my results might have had somewhat to do with the standard that I selected. Again, you can just copy and paste a standard in there and it'll give you some ideas for some possible misconceptions. And I picked a geometry one, which, yeah, you can have misconceptions about like what is a right angle, what is an acute angle, but maybe that wasn't the best standard. I mean, those are pretty straightforward things to teach, I think. But I kept prompting it and I asked it to give me like some scenarios where adults might have this misconception, and then give me some guiding questions that students can use to talk through it about like, why is this wrong and what can we learn from this and why does it matter? And something you can do, like I don't like, it'll just give me the minimum number of things. And I'm like, that's okay, but I want some more ideas because not all of the ideas are very good. So instead of just asking, give me more, give me more, give me more, and then you end up with a transcript that's a mile long. Something you can do is ask it to format things in a table for you, and that just allows you to compare and really pick the one that is best in a way that's more manageable for you as a teacher. And then I said that AI does not generate images, and that is not totally true. So there is an image generator in Magic School that you can use for free. And of course, there are many AI image generators across other platforms, not necessarily free, but some that, you know, maybe you can get a few images a month for free. So I wanted to see if I could get a game board for a fraction game. So I had cut and pasted my fraction standard and had gotten this idea, like Magic School. This was Magic School's idea, like make a number line game board and make it into a fraction game that learners can play. So I was like, okay, well, make the game board for me, right? So I gave it this pretty detailed, what I thought was a pretty good prompt. And this is what it came up with. So not at all what I was hoping to get. Those are not number lines. None of those have number lines. Those are pretty terrible. However, it made me think of an activity that I had done with my ELL students, looking at actual student work and identifying the mistakes and also what was good about the work. And it just led to some really rich discussion where students could compare their responses to this example response, and it was anonymized. And we just had a lot of really good conversation. And, you know, I would say that to my learners a lot, like wrong answers help us learn. And wrong answers also usually have some correct parts too. So you could totally do this with work that AI produced. So I picked one of those images and I kind of, I was like, you know, I could do a whole activity about this. I'll show it to you a little bit bigger. It's on your handout that you're going to get. So you could pick one of the terrible images and just do an activity where learners, you know, you're going to help your AI partner out, right? Your AI partner is very confused and you're going to help them out. So I copied and pasted my prompt, like here's what the AI was supposed to do. Here's what it made. And so let's look at this and think about it. What, if anything, did the AI get right? What did it seem to understand from the prompt? How might you use this image? Obviously, it's not going to be useful for showing fractions on a number line, but maybe it could be useful for graphing or showing area or something else that we've been learning about in math. So how else might you use it? Correct the AI's work by creating your own image in response to the prompt. Or number 4, you could rewrite the original prompt and try your revised prompt with one or more AI tools. And then what do you notice and wonder about those images? Do you get something that's actually more usable for a fractions board game, or what happens when you change the prompt? And so this is a great way to teach not only numeracy, but also AI literacy, right? More and more and more of what we see on social media and online is generated by AI. And we need to be aware of that, and we need to be talking about it with learners. I also believe that it's important to give learners experience using AI, because I think eventually that's going to be the expectation for almost everyone, is that in your job, you're going to be able to work with AI to make yourself more productive. And you have to be that human element, that value added. There has to be a reason for employing you, the human, that you can use the AI stuff and actually make it better. So I think this would be a really fun activity. I haven't gotten to actually try it with real students yet, but I would like to. All right, we are at 3:51, so I think we will actually have a decent amount of time to work on the project. If you're viewing the recording, you can scan the QR code or consult that follow-up email for the link to this handout that I'm going to provide. I'll drop the link in the chat in a moment for those of you who are with me live. The project today, I'm going to ask you to choose just one math standard. I've copied and pasted 3 on the handout that you can choose from. If you don't like one of those 3, go ahead, grab your blue book and pick a different one, but just choose one standard so you don't get overwhelmed. Choose an AI tool. If you want to try more than one, that's okay, but just choose one to start with, since we don't have a ton of time. You're going to make something. I have some ideas on the handout for you. And then hopefully you'll get to a point where it's finished enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. It probably won't be perfect. But it'll be finished enough that you can share it in the Google form. So I will put this link to the handout in the chat. I'm sorry, it's a long handout, but the project instructions start on page 3. So I'll show you the handout again. So page 1 is just some kind of articles that I thought were interesting, including Dan Meyer's Substack. He writes a lot about AI and math. I think it's well worth reading. Links to those learner-focused tools, links to the AI tools for teachers, links to that poster, the sample Help Your AI Partner worksheet, and then on page 3 is where our project starts. So you can choose one of these standards, choose a tool, make something, maybe breaking down the standard into sub-objectives, generating a list of relevant contexts for teaching that standard, or try to generate some exemplars of student work and see what happens. If you're feeling like you need some more support with writing prompts for the AI, keep scrolling down to the 4th page. You've got this RASEF framework that we talked a little bit about in the February meeting. There's an example here. Feel free to just copy and paste that into your chatbot and change it to fit your needs. There's also this nice prompt worksheet created by Kelly O'Brien that you are welcome to take a look at, and some other tips. And while we're here, if we are down to very few people now, so I guess, yeah, we probably don't need a breakout. So we'll just pause the recording. We'll take some time to play around, and then we'll restart the recording at the end. Thank you for your work. I'm just showing you the Google form here where you can submit your resources. We really would like to see things that you create, especially if it's linked to a specific standard. I tried to pick some power standards, right? Things that are really worth teaching, really important concepts. So yeah, if you develop something that's related to one of those standards, please go ahead and submit it. And then also add your reflection on it. Give us a little bit of information. What are you thinking? How might you use this resource with learners? And especially if there are any errors or inaccuracies or just weird things, let us know here. The expectation certainly isn't that the resource needs to be perfect. I think the imperfect resources are often really, really fruitful for discussion. Just let us know, and you can even have the option for earning additional CEUs if you want to develop you know, a longer activity or multiple activities. Just let me know on the form and I can follow up with you. So I hope you experience some success, and I hope we can continue the conversation at some point about, you know, what's going well and what was weird and what should we know about using AI for math. You will receive, if you attended the live session, you'll receive an email with an evaluation, and once you complete that, you can download your CEU certificate. If you are viewing this as a recording, there is a link on the distance learning website to a form where you can actually apply for a CEU for watching a recording, and I will include that in the follow-up email as well. I'll also include a link to this this master spreadsheet, and the way I have the Google form set up, all of the submissions will populate on the math tab. You just have to scroll down to get to that tab, and probably scroll over too as this spreadsheet continues to grow. We have a Minnesota ABE professional development YouTube channel. If you're watching the recording, obviously you're already there. But feel free to take out your phone and scan this QR code, or go to this tiny URL. And don't just go there, but also click that subscribe button, and then you'll receive notifications when new videos are posted. Thank you very much. I failed to update this slide. Our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, April, I believe the 22nd. So thanks so much for joining us, and hope to see you then.
Bye.